everyone, Karen here, and today I have basic layout number 5. Now let's start with going over what the size of all the pieces are. So there's going to be a square on the front that I have chosen a white piece that is 2 3/4 square. And this is only going to be 1/8 of an inch difference, so it's going to have a tiny little border. So this square is a solid that is 2 7/8. I then have a white one, which I'll be stamping just to say that is 2 5/8 by 7/8, and that also is going to have a 1/8 border on it, so that is 2 3/4 by 1. I have a strip that was cut from the print paper I'm using, which is 4 7/8 by 5/8, and it also is going to have a 1/8. So it is going to be a solid that is 5 by 7/8. Now I have a print paper which is 4 1/2 by 6 1/2, and that is going to be on a 6 1/2 by 4 1/2. So that one does have a 1/4 inch difference. That one's going to be a slightly different border. So these are all going to go on a 5 by 7 card, which of course is a 10 by 7 scored at 5. And then I have a piece of paper here that I'm going to be die cutting for the inside of the card. Now I decided I'm going to put some floral decoupage on the front that I had from an ephemera set. And that is going to go on this white square here. So you will need one solid, one print, and that's all you will need for this card. So let's move this over to the side and let's get started. So I'm going to start with taking the 6 1/2 by 4 1/2 solid, and I'm going to glue the 6 1/4 by 4 1/4 to the front. Now this paper is from the Coastal Collection by Crafter's Companion. So we're just going to glue this on here. This will go in the center. Just like that. So now I'm going to take the solid 5 7/8 and the print that is the 4 7/8 by 5/8, and we're going to glue those together. Now this was a two-sided paper, so the print was similar, but the other side only had the squiggly lines. It didn't have any of the boats or shells. So since I'm using this side that has the details of the boats and the shells, I'm going to use the other side of the paper for this one, because they give it a little bit of a contrast, but it is coordinating. This will go on here. Make sure that's in the middle. There we go. And that is going to go in here like this. Alright, so next I have a 2 5/8 by 7/8 white, and this is going to go on the 2 3/4 by 1. But before I do that, I want to stamp the white piece. Now this I'm just going to stamp with, just to say. Now this is very long, and it is longer than my white piece, but absolutely that will work there. I'm just going to stamp it edge to edge and just have the rest of it hang off. So let's bring in my stamping platform. And I will put the paper down. I'm going to put the words in the middle. Just like that. I think I'm going to do it sideways since that's touching there. Make sure it's straight. That looks good. We will pick it up. I grab my ink. I'm just using my black ink from Gina K. Stamp down. I think I'll do it one more time, make sure it's all even. This side is a little darker than that side. just like that. Put this to the side. Now these two will go together. Now I want to decide here if I want to raise this up a little bit, because the flowers are going to have some height to them because of the decoupage. So I think I do want to use a very thin foam. This foam is only 1/16 of an inch thick. So it is not thick, but it does give your cards just a little something without adding too much thickness. So I will put this on here. That looks good. All right. So now let's deal with the square, which is 2 3/4, and it's going to go on a 2 7/8 square. Now this I'm just going to glue together, and then I will put the decoupage on top. All right, let's line this up. That looks good. All right, so now we have our little square. Now when I put all this on the card, this is going to go at an angle. I'm going to make it look like a diamond, and then this is going to come down here. So that's the basic layout here. And that's just going to sit on the 5x7 card. So there will be a border, like that. So we have a bigger border around the outside of the card. Then this is a 1/4 inch border, and then the rest of it is all 1/8. So this will all get glued down like this. Now after this point, it's all decorating. All right, so let's decorate this front here. So I have some decoupage. So this has the flower for the back. Then it has the 3, 2, and then 1 that all go together. So when I do these, I like to glue down the bottoms flat and have the tops with some foam or 3D glue behind them. I just think it makes it look a little bit more realistic. So I will start, let's see, I'm going to start with the 2-piece. So I'm going to glue on the bottom. I'm just going to put glue on the bottom here. And then I'm going to take a little piece and put it on the top. Now here again, I'm using the 1/16 thickness foam because does have 4 layers to it, so it is going to get a little thicker. So I don't want it to get too thick. Do this without getting glue on my fingers. All right, so we'll take paper off, and I'll show you what I mean here. So now when I attach this, I'm going to take the 3-piece, lay the bottom down, match that up, glue that down, and then the foam will be on the top. Let me just hold this for a second so it grabs. Because it is at an angle, you do want to hold it for a second until your glue grabs. All right, so now let's look at this. Let me get really close here. So now it does look like it's attached on the bottom of the flower, but it gives you the little bit of height on top. So we're going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to put a little piece on the top. And I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the bottom. And we'll match up the flower. There you go. And stick down. All right, so all this now will go on this piece here. We'll do the same thing. And we'll put a little piece at the top of each of these petals. I'll peel off the paper. And we'll put a little glue across the bottom. Now I'm going to line up the bottom of the flowers and glue that down. And then the top of the flower will be sticking out. That my glue grab. So now when we have the whole flower on here, you can see that it makes this all look attached here at the bottom, where the way it should be, as if, it was an actual plant, but you have all the height here. I just think that looks more natural when you glue the bottoms down and attach it and ground it to the leaves, and then there's your flower. So this is going to simply go on here, and I think I will put it something along that lines. Put some glue on here, and I think it has enough height. I don't want to put any more height on it. So it's going to be angled like this to make it look like a diamond. And let's see, do I want to have it hang off? I think I do. So I'm going to put it on this way. I think. Let's see. Yep, this way. Now move it down to where it slightly hangs off on 3 sides. All right. There you go. So there's my flower for the middle. All right, now let's put all the pieces together, and then we'll do the inside. So let's start with the back of the card. So this again is the 6.5 by 4.5, and we will glue that down to the 5 by 7 card base to give us a nice border. You always don't have to go down the 1/4 inch. You can go down a 1/2 inch from the 5 by 7. It gives you a different border. There we go. That gives you a nice border. So now this will come over here. This will go on the bottom. So we'll put some glue on here. Now this I'm going to keep flat because it does have the mat, which gives it a little bit of separation. And I think this is tall enough that I don't really need anything else sticking up. This will be here. Now I don't want to cover this boat, so I'm going to put the Just to Say below the boat. So that's going to be here. And we'll put some glue on the back of the square, which we'll put on an angle to make it look like a diamond. And I want it to be centered from the 4 1/4 here. So I'm going to move that up, because I want this space here and this space here to be the same. And I want the 2 corners, that looks good, to be the same. So here we go. So there is the front. All easy peasy. Alright, now for the inside, I was going to use some nesting dies. So I just picked these 2 here. So this one is the largest nesting die, because what I did is I started with the inside, and I was like, okay, this is how big I want the wording to be. So what size is going to look good for the wording? So okay, that looks good. And then I just went up 2 sizes for the next one, because one size just seemed a little close for what I was going for. So start with your smallest piece that you have to fit for your wording on, and find one that you like for that. And then you just cut the other one out. Alright, so let's tape these down and run them through the machine. So we'll tape that down here. And I'll tape this one here. And this one I will just tape once, since I just don't want it to move on me. Actually, I'll tear that in half. Got a big piece there. And let me run these through my machine. Alright, so now we have our 2 pieces. Get that tape off. Alright. These dies are kind of thin, so it kind of cut the paper, the tape. Look at that. One more piece. Alright, and this says, just wanted you to know you've been on my mind lately, sending you a little extra love your way today. That's kind of nice. Nice little thought to send someone. So now I'm just going to glue these two together. That will go in the middle. Yeah, so any nesting dies you have would work for the inside. You can make any shape you want. You know, definitely a set of round-ish, I'm going to say ish because there's a lot of different shapes there that I would call round, and oval, and rectangle, and square. And if you have one of each, you really can do a lot of things. I know I did a series a while back using one set of nesting dies, and I think I made about a dozen different cards, totally different fronts, using the same set of nesting dies. Yeah, so if you haven't watched that, you can go back and look at that and see all the things you can do with a set of nesting dies. Alright, so here we go. Basic layout number 5. Strip down the middle, that coordinates with the print in the back. Message across the front, and a square on the wonk in the middle with a decoration on it. This could be a stamp. This could be anything you have in your collection, any kind of ephemera, anything. Just look through your stash and you can decorate this with whatever you want for whatever theme you need. And then use some nesting dies on the inside. And there you have it. So I hope you are enjoying this series, and if you did, give me a thumbs up and please consider subscribing to my channel. And until next time, stay crafty.